Hey everyone, George here. Since it is Christmas time, I was thinking we talk about some Christmas horror films. So today, let's talk about the top 10 best Christmas horror films. Okay, coming in at number 10 in our list is the 2003 film Dead End. This film was written and directed by Jean-Baptiste Andrea and Fabrice Canepa. Okay, this movie is a bit of a weird one, and it doesn't feel like a Christmas movie, but it is because it takes place on Christmas Eve, so it is absolutely a Christmas film. This movie is about a dysfunctional family is driving to a family's house to celebrate Christmas Eve. The father, played by Ray Wise, decides to take a shortcut down a country road. While on this country road, they pick up a woman in white, thus beginning this strange, horror-esque journey down a country road that seems to go on forever. This movie is not really a horror film. Honestly, it feels more like an hour-and-a-half episode of The Twilight Zone. This family picks up a woman in white while driving down a country road, and while they're driving down this road, weird things start happening that cause them to stop and get out of the car, and that's when all the horror-esque stuff happens. They get back in the car, drive more, something happens, they stop the car, and then get out, and then more stuff happens. And that's basically the cycle of this film. And even though you can figure out what's going on quite early in this movie, and it's quite predictable, it's still fun. The dialogue's enjoyable, the characters and the performance of the actors is actually really good. There's some very memorable scenes in this movie, and it's actually really quirky and does make you laugh a lot. Early on in the movie. I feel like later on, that's when the horror starts kicking in, and it's not as funny. But this movie is very enjoyable. Coming in at number 9 in our list is the 2021 film Silent Night. This film was written and directed by Camille Griffin, and this film has a great cast. In fact, everyone in this movie did a fantastic performance. This film is about a group of friends and their families gather on Christmas Eve, while an apocalyptic event will knowingly be taking place. This is another movie on the list that actually, yeah, I guess it's horror. It's a horror movie. But it feels more like a drama. It's a lot of shots of talking heads in rooms. Basically, all these friends gather to this country home. And I would say 99% of the movie are just people just sitting and standing in rooms having conversations. So the dialogue is actually very good. It's a really well-written film dialogue-wise. It's not boring, it'll keep you entertained. There's a bit of a mystery as to what this event is, and what, just everything surrounding it. So it definitely keeps you intrigued as you go throughout this movie, and slowly it will trickle information to you as the audience member. Also, this movie is really somber. It's a very sad movie. It might be the saddest movie on this list. And it's quite sad, so it might ruin your Christmas. I don't know. If you want to watch a sad movie on Christmas, I would say watch this movie. And if you want to watch a fun horror movie on Christmas, there are fun parts of this movie. There's actually some really fun moments in this film, some really funny moments as well. So, I think you can get both. If you want something sad and funny at the same time, why not, you can watch this one. Coming in at number 8 on our list is the 2021 horror fantasy French film Advent Calendar. This film was directed by Patrick Ridremont. And honestly, I love this movie. This movie is just super weird. It's very quirky. It's not for everyone, but I like it. I actually like it a lot. This film follows a woman named Eva, who's a paraplegic. For her birthday, her friend gives her a creepy old wooden advent calendar. Due to supernatural forces, she is forced to follow through with the advent calendar from beginning to end. Each day delivers a new candy, and the candy seems to affect the world around her. As I was saying, this movie is really weird. It is a horror movie, but it's a really weird horror movie. In fact, it can feel more like an episode of The Twilight Zone, or even Night Gallery, since it's a little more horror-oriented. Or maybe an episode of Tales from the Crypt because of its weird quirkiness, or even Tales from the Dark Side. Either way, it's a really strange, non-conventional horror film that some people might not like, honestly. Because it gets a little weird, but it's really a fun fantasy horror movie. Everyone's performance in this movie was actually really good. And I will say that, like, I don't know, I throw into question the rules of this advent calendar that she has to follow. I did get a little confused when I was following it. There were times in this movie I thought she was breaking the rules of what she needs to do when going through this advent calendar. So, you know, there definitely, I had some issues with the movie, and it's not perfect. But it is a really weird, quirky horror fantasy of this lady just going through the whole advent calendar of 24 days, taking the candy. And yeah, if you want to see like a really weird horror fantasy film for Christmas, I say watch this one. Coming in at number 7 on our list is the 2007 French extremity film, Inside. This film was written and directed by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Maury. Whew, let me tell you, this movie is a wild one. It's a French extremity film, and it will most likely ruin your Christmas. If you want your Christmas ruined, watch this movie. Because, oh man, it goes places. It goes places, and where you think that line is, it will run miles, miles, and miles beyond the line that you think it will cross. Okay, I'm getting very far ahead of myself. Let me tell you what this movie is about. This film takes place over the course of Christmas Eve. A pregnant woman who is scheduled to give birth the next day must survive the night as a scissor-wielding intruder breaks into her home looking to get her and her unborn baby. This movie is a doozy, and, you know, it's not for everyone. And if you want a really happy Christmas horror movie, do not watch this. And I would recommend not to watch any, there are some movies on this list that you can watch with family members. Inside, number 7 on this list, the film Inside, is not one of those movies. Do not sit down with the family and watch Inside on Christmas. Do not. You will ruin Christmas for every single person in that room. And if you actually, you know what, if that's what you want to do, like, by all means, go and do that. I think Inside would be the movie to, like, ruin Christmas. Man, it's a wild one. Also, in case you're like, I don't know, not listening to what I'm saying right now, and you don't know about French extremity movies, they are extreme. They're very gory, they're very brutal, they're very heart-pounding. They will make your heart just pound. You'll be on the edge of your seat. They're very brutal movies, and they can be very scary. And I would say also don't eat while watching this movie. It's a rough, scary, uncomfortable movie to watch. But this movie is actually a masterclass in, I would say, like, tension, in writing. Most of the movie takes place in this home. And it's crazy. You're not bored. There's actually not that many locations. If you think about it, it's not a big home either. But it's just well written. It's actually a masterclass in tension and suspense. It just so happens that there's a lot of crazy stuff inside that tension and suspense. Coming in at number 6 in our list is the 1984 film Silent Night, Deadly Night. This film was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. This film follows a young man named Billy. His parents were murdered by a man wearing a Santa outfit. Years later, he is now 18 and working in a toy store. Everything's going well until Christmas rolls around and he is forced to face his inner demons. Basically, we all know what makes this movie stand out. Especially at the time, it's a slasher where the killer is dressed as Santa Claus. This movie is not your typical slasher film. It's actually a character study of a young man dealing with trauma. And honestly, I know I said earlier that a movie earlier was the saddest movie on this list. I think actually this movie Silent Night, Deadly Night is the saddest Christmas horror movie on this list. It's really a depressing movie because it follows this young man who's, dealing with trauma and trying to get his life together. And then there are certain things that happen to him that trigger him, that bring back this traumatic episode from his childhood. The system failed Billy. I'm not spoiling the movie. We all kind of know what happens in this movie, but in this film, he is put in a convent. They did not know how to deal with a young boy who is dealing with trauma, and they certainly did not know how to deal with a young man who has gone out into the world and still has that trauma. So it's a sad movie. It's a interesting slasher movie because it's not your typical one. Like I said, it's more of a character study of a young man with deep, deep, deep trauma, trying to, I guess, live his life, and he can't because he is so traumatized by Santa Claus. And this movie it's not like, it won't blow your mind. It's very much a B movie, but it's also quite interesting, and it's very dramatic, and melodramatic, mind you. But it's not what you think. It's not going to be just this fun, silly slasher movie. Yes, it gets silly. Yes, it is a slasher movie. But honestly, those elements don't come into the film much later. Most of the movie is this young man struggling with his past. And then maybe the last act of the movie is what everyone thinks of when they think about this film. So yeah, that is why Silent Night, Deadly Night is number 6 on our list. Coming in at number 5 on our list is the 2017 horror musical, Anna and the Apocalypse. This film was directed by John McPhail. And this film is really what you would get if you would take Shaun of the Dead and High School Musical and put them together. This film is about a zombie apocalypse causes Anna and her friends to fight and sing for survival in their sleepy hometown. Also, this film was made back in 2017, so it very much is a product of its time. Back in the 20-teens, zombies were everywhere. In fact, if you want to make a dad joke, you can say the zombie apocalypse already happened, and it didn't invade the real world. The zombie apocalypse took place in the horror movie genre because there was a time in the 20-teens when just about every other horror movie or horror anything that came out had zombies in it. So, the zombie apocalypse happened, we all survived, and now we have other horror movies out that aren't filled with zombies. But anyway, this movie is actually really fun. I really like this movie. It's very funny. It has some catchy songs. It has a really good protagonist, a really good antagonist. I will say some of the songs aren't as good as other ones. I'll say the songs in the first act and the songs in the third act are good, and the songs in maybe the second act are And this movie is just a well-rounded film. It's funny. It has a lot of stuff going for it. If you want a very fun, just enjoyable horror movie to watch around Christmas time, I say watch Anna and the Apocalypse. You won't be disappointed. Coming in at number 4 on our list is the 2010 film Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. This film was directed by Gilmari Helander, and this film is about a young boy named Pietari and his friend Uso think a secret mountain drilling project near their home in northern Finland has uncovered the tomb of Santa Claus. Meanwhile, Pietari's father captures a feral old man in his wolf trap. The man may hold the key to why reindeer are being slaughtered and children are disappearing. Okay, this movie is really weird, really unique. You gotta give it credit. This movie is very unique. It's a really interesting spin on Santa Claus. It is a Finnish film, so it's not in English. So if you're not in the mood of reading subtitles, then you probably won't enjoy this because this movie is in subtitles. But it's a fun one. It has a really good atmosphere, really good tension, good mystery, really good mood to it. It's interesting because in some ways it feels like a children's movie. In other ways, it is absolutely not a children's movie. It's kind of like it juggles both. It has that like lighthearted, childlike Christmas film feel to it, while also having this like kind of like this tense like horror movie or like creature movie like feeling to it. It's a really interesting movie, and it juggles these moods together really well. Coming in at number 3 on our list is the 2015 film Krampus. This film was directed by Michael Dougherty, and he also directed another holiday horror movie, Trick or Treat. Also, this movie has a fantastic cast. This film is about a family one Christmas that is visited by Krampus and his minions. I would say out of all the movies on my list, this is the most Christmas feeling one. It's very lighthearted. It's actually a horror comedy. It's very commercial feeling too. It's probably the most commercial feeling movie on this list. This whole movie takes place in and around this one home, following this family on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, dealing with all sorts of monsters and fun, silly creatures. It's just a really fun Christmas horror comedy film. Coming in at number 2 on our list is the 1974 film Black Christmas. This film was directed by Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story and Porky's. I've spoken about this movie in the past. I think this movie is very scary. It is a very uncomfortable movie. It just, you feel very uneasy from beginning to end, but you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you what this movie's about. During their Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger. This film has a great cast. It has Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, John Saxon, and honestly, there is not a bad actor in this movie. This movie is very much a slow burn, so if you want like more of a fast-paced horror film for, Christmas time, I would say don't watch this one. But if you've never seen this movie, I would say stop this video and just go watch it, because like this movie's really good. I would love you to watch to see what number 1's going to be on this list, but like just pause it for a moment and go watch Black Christmas if you have not seen the movie. It is good. It is a masterclass in suspense. It's very much a slow burn. No matter how many times I have seen this movie, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, there is a scene in this movie, in the beginning of the movie, where the sorority girls get a phone call from this stalker. And oh my God, the sounds that are on this phone call is just unsettling. I can't unhear the voice and the noises that come from that phone call. So do yourself a favor. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. And, if you've already seen it, I would say watch Black Christmas again on or around Christmas, because, that's the time of year to watch it. Coming in at number 1 on our list is the 1984 horror comedy Gremlins. This film was directed by Joe Dante. He also directed Piranha, The Howling, Inner Space, The Burbs, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, Small Soldiers, and so much more. Also, this movie was written by Chris Columbus, who also wrote the movie The Goonies, and he directed some memorable films such as Home Alone 1 and 2, Adventures in Babysitting, Mrs. Doubtfire, the first 2 Harry Potter films, and so much more. Also, this movie really does have an amazing cast. It stars Zach Galligan, Phoebe Cates, Corey Feldman, Dick Miller, Hoyt Axton, and Francis Lee McCain. Okay, let me tell you what this movie's about. After receiving an exotic small animal as a Christmas gift, a young man inadvertently breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet, which unleashes a horde of malevolent, mischievous creatures on a small town. This movie, Gremlins, is so much fun. If you have never seen the movie Gremlins, I would say stop the video and go watch it, then come back and sit back down. because this movie's amazing. It really is. You know, I said Krampus was probably the most commercial movie on this list. I would say it's tied. I would say Gremlins is also super commercial, maybe even more commercial, because back in the 80s, and I would say even the 90s as well, there was like Gremlins memorabilia that you could get, like a Gizmo toy. You could get like Gremlin toys. Gremlins is such a fun movie. It's from the 80s, so you'll have that fun 80s like horror comedy, you know, kid-friendly feel to it. It's kid-friendly, as I said. It's very kid-friendly. I mean, I was a child when I saw this movie. There's nothing scary about this movie. There are some horror elements to it, but it's not a scary movie at all. And, you know, it's just fun. It's just a really fun, enjoyable, cozy 80s horror film. Also, it fits snugly into a specific subgenre that I absolutely love, and that is like creatures or aliens loose causing mischief in a small town. I love that genre. It is so much fun. You don't really get movies like Gremlins these days. They don't make movies like that anymore. They really don't. If Gremlins was done today, it would just be different. Gremlins just fit really nicely in the 1980s catalog of films. But honestly, this movie is just so much fun. Like, I don't know. I have not met a single person that does not like Gremlins. I really have not. Maybe you are that person. I don't know. Maybe you're disagreeing with me right now and you are that person that does not like this movie, but Gremlins is fantastic. And so that is why it is number 1 on my list. So there you go. That is my top 10 list of best Christmas horror movies. Honestly, I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these movies. I think some are stronger than others. You know, it depends what mood you're in. If you want something like more fun and lighthearted, I would say go with like Krampus or Gremlins. If you want something a little bit like weirder and like darker, maybe go with Advent Calendar or Silent Night, Deadly Night. And if you want like your Christmas ruined, I would say, you know, go with Black Christmas. And if you really want your Christmas ruined, watch Inside. Bye.